Took these two action cameras out this afternoon, put them on a selfie stick, and did some handheld stuff too, as in comparison to demonstrate more of the brilliant stabilization in the Osmo versus a decent camera. It's a decent quality camera with a Sony sensor in it called a Yi. I bought this 5-6 years back. It's a decent quality camera, but there is no stabilization in this camera. The technology really wasn't out there back then, but I just wanted to demonstrate the two cameras. Nice for 2015, but it's completely outdated now. But I just wanted to show a little bit of the difference between the two cameras today. So we're back at it today, comparing a $280, $300 camera, the DJI Osmo, to a $60 camera. I'm not even sure you can buy these Yis anymore. They have evolved and they've become above mid-level cost. I think they may have some approaching the $300 level, but this is an old $60 Yi. I think I've had this five years, maybe 6. But it's got a really nice sensor in it. That's why I bought the thing, because it's got a nice sensor in it. So I think it's from what I remember, it's a Sony sensor. But I'm testing a couple of things today. The stability that comes with using a selfie stick, and just another comparison, just to kind of get an idea. And this might be a good wind test for the Osmo, because I've got a tailwind here. It's probably 15 knots. It's a pretty strong wind. I mean, it's not enough to blow my hat off, but anyway. But I wanted to do a little bit more of a stabilization test, and I want to do some demonstrations on not just filming my face using it as a selfie stick, but using it as a stabilization platform like I'm going to do right now. You're going to be able to see that there's not a whole lot of difference on a stick. But if I had these cameras mounted on my helmet, you'd see a big difference. The side to side motion, this stuff right here, is going to be real obvious if you had it on something other than a selfie stick. But this is just a demonstration of, number one, the differences between a $60 and a $300 camera, and that's just on the selfie stick. There's much bigger difference if this was mounted somewhere else, like a helmet. I tell you another thing that I've realized. There's other stabilization platforms. When I want a really stable picture and I'm riding my motorcycle, typically I've always strapped the camera to my chest. And as long as you get that chest strap nice and tight, it's not going to move around much. It's an excellent stabilization platform. I can simulate it if I do something like holding this to my chest. You will see. Well, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this very well, but this is simulated. I am holding it tight to my chest, and you can see it's very stable. In other words, if I was just holding this selfie stick in my hand, I close the thing up and I'm holding it right here in my hand, it's going to be a lot shakier. And that's just the nature. It's the nature of an unstable platform, is that the center of gravity is right next to the sensor in the camera, the lens, the sensor. The center of gravity is right next to the sensor. And if you move the center of gravity, like I'm about to do, by extending the length of the selfie stick, the more stable the image becomes. And I just extended the selfie stick to the full length, and magically the image stabilized. So just a kind of an example. I've been talking a lot about selfie sticks lately, but people just don't realize how much a freaking selfie stick, how much difference you can get in a selfie stick. I have still, the selfie stick is now extended still, and I'm holding it just below the mount. And this thing is still going to be stable because I have got a pendulum down at the bottom that's acting to recenter the center of gravity. The center of gravity is, maybe a foot down below the camera. Selfie stick is extended 20 feet. 3 feet. Yeah, this is 2.5 feet. Selfie stick is extended 2.5 feet. So the center of gravity is going to be somewhere. Well, if I had another camera out here, I'd test it to show you what I was talking about. Center of gravity is basically you balance on the selfie stick on your finger, you find out where the center of gravity is. But it's much further down below the sensors. Ooh, thing's fogging up. So this is a pretty good example of what happens when you change humidity and temperature and all that. This happened to me so many times. It's very frustrating. The worst thing to discover is after you film something, you get back, you throw the thing, getting ready to edit the thing and throw it under the computer, then you realize the lid is all fogged up, which basically means your footage is worthless. So I'm holding the cameras out at arm's length, and it's got a little rocking motion back and forth, so that may be destabilizing it. But it's not really going side to side much. It's going up and down. But you can fix all that. This mount is not in a good position. Trying to convey some principles that are hard to convey, number one. They're hard to understand, number two. And a lot of times I'll start talking about some topic, some hard to understand topic, and not be able to convey the idea or the message very well. That's pretty typical for me. But you can see walking with these cameras on a selfie stick is much different with the stick fully extended. Even though one's got the camera, the DJI Osmo has got amazing stabilization. I think it's the best I've ever seen. Second, maybe to the new GoPro, the GoPro 8, but I don't think it's second. I think it beats the GoPro. And that's why I bought the daggum thing, because I think it beats the GoPro. I'm gonna walk through one of these little pavilions to give you a better idea of close up and all that. And then I'm gonna turn the cameras back around in selfie mode. So I made a video of these passing by these storm bunkers the other day. Check that out. It's kind of interesting. Most of the trip was spent, or at least most of the footage I uploaded was spent with a selfie stick. And then towards the end, it became me driving through this park during a tornado warning. Pretty bad tornado came through the other day and killed 3 people. Did a lot of damage. Anyway, so tight spaces be a little bit easier to tell. I'm trying to think that I'm holding this thing steady, but I'm not trying real hard. If I was trying real hard, I would use 2 hands. I would have one at the end of the camera, and like I've got now. This may or may not be helping. It may be shaking side to side. I don't know. But one thing I do know is if you don't mess with it, a selfie stick is always going to stabilize your image. And that's all I'm out here doing today. Just talking about stabilizing your image. got a little grease on my lens here. So there is still moisture gathering up in this daggum. If you don't believe me, you don't believe me, to hell with you, man. I think maybe we're gonna try this. We're gonna try this. Lower this thing down, see if I can get this selfie stick to film. Yeah, it's a tripod. How many selfie sticks have you ever seen besides this kind of thing that double as a tripod? The message I am trying to bring to you is that I don't think there's a single thing that's as cheap or effective or fast to improve your video quality on your phone than a selfie stick. There's nothing better. Not just that, I mean, if you're just taking pictures, it helps with that too. But you know, they're made for people that are, you know, the vanity pictures. You know, you're sticking the camera in your face and taking your picture, you know, doing that. That's what they're made for. But they're so much more useful in a video sense. It's kind of like a tripod. A tripod is the same idea, and this is being used as a tripod. But a tripod stabilizes the image on your camera and keeps it in the same place and makes a potentially unwatchable video watchable. So, all right, maybe this other camera has gotten rid of this moisture here, a moisture problem. So yeah, I mean, walking while you're filming is about as extreme as it gets. Just to let you know, walking while you're filming is extreme. The only thing I can think of that's more extreme is running. I'm not gonna run today. I'm trying to talk myself out of running. Maybe I'll do a little bit of a jog, just to show you how extreme jogging is. And I haven't jogged yet with the Osmo, but you're gonna see a huge difference between these two cameras as far as stabilization. So let me get down here to a flat part. And by jogging, I mean jogging. I'm gonna go really slow because I'm old and my joints don't take well to impacts. But I'm gonna lower this thing down to the ground and show you another awesome thing is being able to get your camera in a position that you're not gonna be. So this would be great like riding on a skateboard or maybe riding on a motorcycle or bicycle. Just hang your selfie stick down. Be careful not to drag it along the ground. I've lost a few GoPros like that. All right, let's give it a try, I think. All right, Charlie. Very slowly. Oh, this hurts. This hurts all those muscles I don't really use now. But this stick is bouncing all around. If I got into some kind of a gyro or something like that. You know, speaking of gyros, they have all kinds of options nowadays for stabilizers. They've got some really expensive, nice stabilizers out there. And basically you put your camera on a stick, but it's a short stick. So you don't get as wide of an angle to tell your story. Maybe somebody's looking at how bad your skin is, because your camera's right up here in your face. So at least that's what I feel like. I would rather me be, in my stories, I'm a narrator. I want people to come along with me on my journey while I tell my story. But also, I don't want my face to be the story. My face and my body have too many flaws for that to be the star of the show. But unfortunately, I keep calling Brad Pitt. He's not returning my calls anymore. He doesn't want to portray me. He doesn't want to star in any of my productions. And I've offered him hundreds of dollars. I just don't understand why. I mean, he rides a motorcycle. He actually rides a pretty cool motorcycle, so I don't understand why he doesn't want to help a brother out. Maybe he's too image conscious. So look here, man. If you made it this far in this crappy video, you must be desperate for something to watch. If you're not a subscriber, I highly recommend that you hit the subscribe button. You may actually have to create a YouTube account to be able to do that, but I encourage you to do that. And hit the notification bell after you subscribe so you get messages to know when I update decent videos. I do produce quite a good number of decent videos. Most of them are fun. This video was just a little bit of my continuing obsession with equipment and stabilization and the differences between the two. And I'm probably going to do a few more videos on stabilization and equipment, but hopefully back to adventures and motorcycles and outdoors very soon. But there's only going to be one way to find out, is if you subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell. And I will see you on the next decent video, hopefully. Later.